Hello, my name is Dwayne Perry. I'm here with Tony Hendricks. Welcome to Point Counterpoint. The opinions expressed by the show's hosts will many times conflict, thus the title Point Counterpoint. Point Counterpoint is a weekly issue show for our area. Point Counterpoint always lets you judge for yourself. We live in an information free-for-all. It's hard to see through the misinformation and get to the accurate facts, what is right and best for our community. We will not libel, discriminate, or disrespect anyone or their views. We believe in the constitutional First Amendment, right of free speech, and we support everyone who voices their opinion as part of their duty to their community. This program brings you just that, an unedited, honest discussion of issues. The producers take no responsibility for the opinions and comments made on the show by their guests or the information they gather from public sources. The intent of this show is to thoroughly research current issues that affect our community, present the facts surrounding the issues, discuss the pros and cons, then present to our viewing audience what we together or individually feel is the best solution for both the community and the public. This show is a property of the producers and may not be broadcast without written permission of the producers. The producers take no responsibility for the opinions of others in the posting comments in chat rooms, blogs, video logs, forum posts, or other media. Ideas and suggestions for the show are welcomed and encouraged. We can be reached at 46360show@excite.com. Our show will air on Comcast Cable Network and will be rebroadcast by us on YouTube under the label Point Counterpoint 46360 Show. Again, welcome to Point Counterpoint, the 46360 Show, produced by Dwayne Perry and Anthony Hendricks. We hope you enjoy the topics, the discussion, and the show. Well, let's get started. Tony, what do we have for today?
Ready to go. First, a little housekeeping. I have not posted the 46360 Show on YouTube the last 2, 3. I have those today. We'll post those this week. Today, I don't know what we got today. It's your list today. Run the show. It's all yours.
Okay, let's start out with a continuation of our Neighborhood Identities program. If you've caught some of our past episodes, we've looked at East Porte, Eastgate, Tony's neighborhood.
Well, the Sanborn.
The Sanborn neighborhood.
The Sanborn neighborhood.
And today we're going to look at the west side. It was a little bit difficult to research because we didn't find some of the things that we found for other areas. And we welcome your comments and thoughts if you live in that area. I'm sure that the area could be given the name for any one of several businesses or facilities that were there. Pullman Standard, you could call it the Pullman neighborhood. Park, there's Park School. There was a Garfield School where the existing fire station sits at 11th and Ohio Street. So,
yeah, first we better tell them what the bounds are.
Okay.
So we're talking, we're gonna go all the way to, we'll say the west side. We're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt here. We're gonna go all the way to the lake.
Yeah.
We'll go, I can't think of the road now on the west side.
Well, going north and south, we could go from the lake to
the railroad tracks, 11th. But the railroad tracks is 10.
11th, yeah. Well, I would say go down as far as 11th. 11th.
You want to pick up the Amtrak tracks?
Yeah, well, they're up north.
Well, no, they cut right through there.
Yeah, and then we go on east and west. We can go from
it'll be the outlet mall.
From Wabash, the outlet mall. We could go from Wabash all the way over to Sheridan Ave.
Sheridan Ave, yeah, that's right. Sheridan Ave. So there's our bounds.
We're talking Lakefront to 11th Street, Wabash to Sheridan Ave. Looking at some of the businesses that were there, my grandfather started our first bakery there, Perry's Bakery, on 10th Street, right across from where the current fire station is at. And the first A&P store, which isn't in town anymore, was located on 10th Street, right next to my grandfather's bakery. I didn't know that until I looked at a picture of my dad in front of a new car that he bought after he came home from World War II. And Perry's Bakery was in one section of the picture, and I looked at the other building because there was something, it had an imprint on the facade, and it said American Atlantic, let me see, Pacific and Atlantic
A&P store.
Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company is what it was, the AMP store.
So I didn't realize this till maybe a few months ago because they just tore down a building. Flanagan Tire.
Yep.
Flanagan Tire is right out there. It's just off Chicago, right?
Right off of Ohio and 9th.
Flanagan Tire. Then they moved over there to Washington and bigger store. 10th Street store. Some of us my age would know about that. 10th Street store was a big market back then, wasn't it?
Yep.
10th Street was like a meat market, right? Butcher shop.
Yep, that was the AMP.
Oh, that was the AMP.
Was
the
it.
10th Street market was the AMP.
After the AMP moved to Franklin Street, right in the empty lot that is next to Rodeo Bar, that was where the AMP moved to. Then another grocery store, a neighborhood grocery store, moved into that area, that space that was AMP.
And I apologize for not remembering to go drive by on the way over here, but what's his name? Dave Vila's printing area there. That used to be a gas station?
That was a gas station, or it was a gas station kitty corner from that too, and Dave still prints. He is still in business as a printer.
And they have that like still kind of a old style, like a downtown style, couple stores cuddled together on Chicago. I forget. That's why I apologize. There's a couple stores in there that are still flourishing right there at the corner. They have, I think there's 3 or maybe 4 stores right there, just like downtown here, but it's just over there off of Chicago Street. I think one was a barbecue place, and
Yeah.
there's still
Jimmy Grant's Body Shop is over there. Now that we're thinking about it, I'm thinking about more. There was a nightclub over there called the Polka Dot. Yep. It was a hot spot on the west side of town. And most anybody that wanted to be a car buff would remember the car parts store right there.
Oh, Torgeson's, Bernie's.
Bernie's Auto Parts.
Bernie's and Torgeson's.
Every Sunday
Oh.
you could count on finding a part you needed there when you were trying
They
to
were
get
open
your...
on Sunday?
He was open every Sunday,
I didn't
whether it was a
remember
spark plug wire, a water hose, a clamp. You could get it at Bernie's to get your car up and running by Monday.
And Mr. George Kingshot, who I believe still does engines right there in the neighborhood behind Redimax. He's got a real cool mailbox. He's got a Chevy 350 mailbox, really neat. But he redid the engine of my car. He was quite the hellraiser, boy. George Kingshot. What a maniac. But then that brings me back to Harvey's Junkyard.
Yeah.
Harvey's Junkyard across the tracks. Well, I spent many a day getting parts out of that, And I remember Torgeson's and Bernie. First it was Bernie's, right? And then it was Torgeson's. And they had a whole machine shop in there.
You had a couple businesses and churches along Willard. I remember those.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but our favorite buddy, ex-councilman Mr. Doyle, used to work at Bernie's.
Yeah, he reminds us of that all the time.
Lots of things going on in the
A lot of neighborhood businesses over there.
And that, it's tough to go in that neighborhood, and you can look on Beacon and GIS. It's really neat. Those of you who don't want to drive over there, look at it. Sometimes there's only 1 or 2 homes per block, and you really, once you go through there, and I remember when I was a kid, it was a little tough neighborhood. Willard Ave, tough neighborhood, but it's got some of the most beautiful ground in Michigan City. Rolling hills, curving streets. It's gorgeous ground. Just waiting for it to take off again. And I think, honestly, and we've had this discussion, and maybe lots of others, that, when they blocked the beach access off, it pretty much ruined that neighborhood. They've got access to what we used to know as the West Beach, right?
Yep.
And that used to be the beach.
We used to have beach parties on Mount Baldy in high school, and there wasn't the parking lot that there is now. We would park along Highway 12 going out of town and cross the NIPSCO tracks hiking up to Mount Baldy.
So let's give the viewers another update. The beach at Mount Baldy is open. But if you had the right administration in there, the right people knew what to do, right?
We talked about that.
You would have it open. The whole.
$200,000 and I'll open up everything. The beach and Mount Baldy.
It'll be safe.
It'll be safe.
And then the kids can run on Mount Baldy again.
We'll never have an incident again. Not as long as we own it. And
we can all hope. Yep. I remember Mount Baldy very fondly. It's great to climb up the hill and climb back down. Beautiful, one of a kind, probably in the world. What we have is just amazing. But right now the beach is open. Anything else we want to do in the neighborhood? West Side, yeah, still in the West Side. We don't know what we wanted to call it. I mean, I always refer to the west side. I grew up on the near west side. The west side was the neighborhood, right?
Yep, I grew up at 609 West 10th Street, right next to the bakery. I was one of the kids that figured out how to climb on top of Garfield School, get up there on the roof, and then the police would come and shag us down.
But the west side went through some tough times, and now it's kind of quiet out there now. Not many homes left. I mean, a lot of people own most of a whole block out there.
Yeah.
Willard Ave is really, nothing really left down there, is there? Willard Ave. At one point, we had a police outpost there.
Yeah, we had when we were. Oh, what's that, Tony?
I don't know. We'll figure out later.
Okay. One time when we had area police stations, kind of like outposts, there was one right on Willard Ave, but that got closed several years ago. I'm not sure that wasn't an idea that we should have kept.
Maybe it would have worked a little better, but we did have the baseball fields, and we can't be remiss without West Side saying skate park.
Oh, yeah.
Skate park's out there today. I see kids on it. Seems like a really nice place. I've personally been on with my kids. It's really neat to have. I have relatives who come into town, and they are amazed at the breadth of that skate park. That Michigan City has a skate park of that nature, and honestly, I didn't know what to say when they came in just this year. And we all grew up in this town, and they've come every year. They come back to home, and they never realize what Michigan City has over their skate park. I don't know where we haven't, and maybe you can help me. I haven't seen one bit of publicity or advertisement anywhere about the skate park we have.
No, I have not either.
And it's
a shame because it's well done.
It's very well done.
It's lit at night. The kids can go out there and skate.
It's free.
Young adults can go out there and skate. There's no fee.
It's
skateboard.
I get it. From what I understand, it's one of the top skate parks in the nation, and if not the area. They were really impressed. They took their, my sisters and brothers took their kids out there, and they had a blast. It was a really gorgeous thing to have, and I just thought of it just now. I haven't seen everything we talk about: Blue Chip, Downtown Arts, the Lighthouse Mall, the beach. Things we talk about. Do we seem to forget the things that we have that we take for granted? Garfield Park, or Gardena Park, the skate park. I mean, there's things out there that we have that are we just seem to not pay attention. But boy, out-of-towners come in and they're amazed at what we have.
So give us your thoughts on it. Is there's anything that we didn't mention that you're aware of that you'd like to mention? If you've got a thought on how those neighborhoods, there's more than one neighborhood over there, how they should be broken up and what their name should be, let us know. 46360 at excite.com.
And before we leave the topic, I've had people come to me and we go to events, and there's always, every year, election year, there's a forum out there at Park School.
At the Madeline, there's one at the Madeline Smart Center and then
the park.
Another one at Park School.
And a lot of people have asked me, and I apologize I haven't worked on it as much as I should, but what does the West Side need? Or what will the West Side be in 10 or 15 years? What does Michigan, are we just going to ignore it some more? Are we going to give it some attention? I mean, we pay a lot of attention to a lot of other neighborhoods. Eastport, Eastgate, Village Green, Midtown, downtown or uptown. We pay attention to these places, and West Side just seems to get ignored over and over and over again. There's no no action plan for the West Side. They're not getting.
Don't say that too loud. We'll have another city study.
And when we're on News and Views, Dave Bila, who's from the area and represented the area, always said, where's ours? Where's our new sidewalk? Where's our plan to enhance the West Side? The West Side is gorgeous ground. It's just nice over there.
It's a diamond in the rough.
And we ignore it. I haven't heard any study. I haven't heard an inkling. I haven't heard anyone even bring it up. It's like, we just act like it doesn't even exist. I mean, and maybe its time was tough in the past, but boy, its time is ripe right now, and there's something. I brought it up because I don't know. I haven't thought what you do with it either. I'm thinking along the lines when we talk about St. Anthony's. What do you do with some piece of property like that? I mean, what's the best utilization of that property? Residential's probably it. What kind of residential? Do you want rentals like Beach Walk in there, or do you want people living in there, owning the homes? Do you want age restricted? It's got great access. I think people are seeing the west side more now as 94 is getting too busy and the toll road's getting too busy and the construction, they're coming down 12 and 20, coming right down the west side because that's the quickest place to get to the beach. And I don't think there's even a sign.
I think it's good.
This is the west side.
I think it's good that we're bringing it up because Michigan City, after all, is from Mirror Road over the county line east and west, and from the lake down to 400.
And
We've got to work on developing to its fullest the entire city.
and that's the last point I want to
Limit
bring
to
up
limit.
about the west side.
Okay, well,
Wait. Constantly we're talking about the west side, and we're talking about some sort of interchange off the County Line Road. So I haven't looked into it again. My understanding, there was a whole cloverleaf already designed for County Line Road. County Line Road is owned by Porter County, so maintained, so it's not our road. But you're talking about another good access. If we had people coming off 94 right to the west side, County Line Road, right there to 12 and to the beach,
County Line Road would run north and south right into the
right to 12.
to the corner of the prison.
Yeah,
That's County Line.
beautiful.
And then everybody would come in to town that gets off there through that west corner.
So I
That'd
didn't
be
want
nice.
to not bring that up. We always heard and talk about a cloverleaf at County Line in 94. What else we got?
Okay, well, on the next subject, you're not going to have to feed me raw meat to get me steamed over this one. The Michigan City Sanitary District proposed stormwater user fee. I watched the June 28th Sanitary District meeting, and well, I brought my Rolaids in case I need them. I don't know where this is going to end up with, whether it's going to be Rolaids will do it for everybody.
Well,
or
I think you need to put your wallet out there.
forced to,
That's where it's going to end up.
Yeah, I should put the wallet out there.
That's where it's going to end
Whether
up.
we're gonna
Out of your wallet.
Drink the Kool-Aid, I don't know.
You got no choice here.
But what happened was Sanitary District Superintendent Mike Cuss presented to the board information on a proposed stormwater user fee. He broke it down into several items. First, $386,000 per year to maintain Michigan City legal drains that Michigan City assumed responsibility for years ago, but didn't have a fund for each of the drains.
Back in the early 70s.
Early 70s. Well, currently, it's my estimate, and Tony's been with the county much longer than I have. I'm estimating the county pays about $20,000 per drain to maintain it per year. Those are the payments that I've seen come across my desk to contractors. Well, if you take the 386 divided by 20, that's about 19 legal drains in Michigan City. There was not a quantity of drains that were mentioned by Mr. Cuss. I'd like to see a breakdown of where that 386,000 goes, how much per drain. Another item was, he said 17, 18 million to complete the Lafayette Barker storm sewer, which was a Mayor Overley project that was never finished. He had a report from John Doyle and Associates, 2012 dated report. And my question to this is, why wasn't this included by the sanitary district in the 2013 sanitary rate increase that passed the council? I have a lot of heartburn over that. I fought that. I proposed two alternatives to the 35% one-time increase to stair-step it over a couple of years. Somewhere in my folder here, I don't think I have it at the top, Whiting just passed a rate increase, incredibly low compared to ours. I'll pull that out and discuss that at a future topic, at a future show, once I can find out a little bit more about that. 17 to 18,000, and we don't have water in our streets. In fact, I'm going to talk more about that in a minute.
Oh, wait a minute. We got to go back a little bit. Boy,
Okay.
This might be longer than 10 minutes. That's okay. We'll do it. A little background
On Lafayette Barker?
on drainage in the county in Michigan City. LaPorte County has obviously a bunch of drains. I just did it, and I think I showed it to you last week. We're working on how many drainage ways are there in LaPorte County outside city limits. I think I got about 6 million lineal feet. A lot of little drainage ways, little ditches, water goes somewhere when it rains. But in LaPorte County, we have drainage, we have legal drains, which were created by the courts back in the 70s when the state law changed. We have urban drains, which are done when you do a subdivision, we take care of the stormwater and the stormwater systems, and we have legal drains that are assessed. So we can have a drain, but there's no money. So in Michigan City in '73, I believe my dad was surveyor then, said we want to have control of our drains in Michigan City. We want to take them. Will you give them to us? And the county drainage board says, yeah, you can have them. There's no money. There's no assessment or any assessments that we have. You can have it, and you will take care of them. So the county drainage board will not take care of those and fix those and maintain those and keep those up. Michigan City said we want them. The county was presuming that they would leave in their sanitary rates enough money to fix these drainage ditches and take care of them. Obviously that hasn't happened. They need cleaned out, they need maintained, they need updated, they need fixed. So the county gave them to the city within the city limits, and they maintain and owe those legal drains that were set by the courts prior to 1970. And there's no money to fix them. So when Dwayne sees money come across his desk for county drains, that means there's legal drains that are assessed. So the people have agreed, yes, we have a legal drain. We need to maintain every 10, 20 years. We're willing to pay $5 an acre or $1 an acre or $5 a parcel. It depends on what it is to keep that fund together so we can fix our ditch and make sure we don't flood. Michigan City does not have that. Now one thing, I don't know if you know this, Dwayne, I think we talked about previous shows either on News and Views, but when this came into effect, I think shortly thereafter, Michigan City said, wait a minute, we need some money to maintain stormwater in our drains. And the state, I believe, had a law or an ordinance in effect that said, okay, you can do this. You can put a stormwater fee on your assessments. And it was a small fee. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say $125,000 or $250,000 a year. And back when they did it, somebody obviously thought that was enough money. And we'll get to that point. Somebody thought it was enough money. And they put, if you look on your tax bills, I believe you'll see a Michigan City stormwater fee. It's tiny, but every one of us pays it. Now, Michigan City has now recently, like Dwayne said, maybe just before they did the sanitary sewer enactment fee, that we don't have enough money to fix our stormwater. So let me leave it there for you. That's where it all started.
Well, I'll correct what I said earlier. I said that the legal drains were addressed in a 2012 report. They were addressed by John Doyle in 2016. The Lafayette Barker was a 2013 or 12 report from, I believe, Haas and Associates.
And that was how much to put Lafayette Barker in?
17, 18 million.
No, how much to put what we have in the ground now? We got 10 million in the ground, right?
We got 10 million in the ground right now.
There's a big tunnel from, I forget what street, down Lafayette, across 11th. Huge tunnel, nothing hooked up to it. $10 million.
Empty tunnel.
And that was the last year or year and a half of the Overley administration. So it's been sitting there for now 7, 8 years.
Well, my position is these should have been addressed, both of these.
I agree.
In the
100%.
2013 rate increase.
If you were doing a rate increase, why, and for God's name, did you not know you have to do this? Or were they waiting to come after your wallet another time?
The city's been maintaining these legal drains since the 70s. Why wasn't it brought up before now?
It's a good question. Were they maintaining them, or were they just taking the money?
It seems like this administration in this sanitary district is moving toward a position of being cash rich, and I don't think any department should be that way. Those are only two of the items now. Let's move on. Mr. Cuss mentioned a $4.3 million for stormwater improvements, and this is a little bit amusing to me. He said in the southwest corner of Michigan City, he cited 8 locations. I drove all of them. It was ideal last night with almost an all-night rain. So this morning between 10 and 10:45, I drove these 8 locations, and here's what I found. Lakeshore Drive at the Zoo, dry. Carwick Drive at Highway 12, dry. Faulkner at Grove, dry. Northbrook Avenue I couldn't find. 1802 Lakeshore Drive, dry. And when I'm talking dry, I'm not talking not even a puddle of water. We had a lot of rain last night, and 10 o'clock in the morning, it hadn't really heated up yet. Washington Park at Warren Street, dry. Carwick Road near the Krieger Nature Park, dry. And Millennium Park. There was water lines on the pavement. There were 2 streaks running from the fountain to the harbor. So you know the fountain overflow.
Well, I'm a little familiar with Carwick Drive Road near Nature Park, but he must be talking a little north towards the track because there's a low area there.
Well, I did find 3 in my travels. I
A little
found
low area there, right there, but there's no outlet.
3.
But it's all sand, so this shouldn't be. I don't know. I'm a professional. I can't say, but it shouldn't be 4.3 million. I mean, that should be a couple dry wells and go to the sand and soak in. I mean, there is a puddle there.
There were 3 puddles that I found.
Yeah, there are puddles, isn't that?
In my travels. One
floods.
one on Carwick Road, right at that bridge where it's so narrow and you go through
Just
it like
south
an
of the
S.
viaduct.
Yeah.
Or just north. Just
Where
north of the viaduct.
everybody remembers it by the big sign, sound your horn when you go through
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That little
that's what
bridge
I'm
there, there
talking
was
about.
a little puddle of standing water there, and right in front of our fire training center on Broadway by the water tower. Now there is a water issue there. It was out covering almost half of the road. So it was in a traffic lane, but then this study was on the southwest area of Michigan City, but yet the majority of these areas that I mentioned are north and northeast. I think part of the money should be spent to buy some maps for these guys with compasses so they know what area of the city they're in when they go out.
Well, he's not from here. He lives out at whatever, out.
Well, he's been working for the city 6 years now.
He lives
by the
out.
time he figures out
Lives out east of South Bend.
what the lie of the land is. There was also water on Springland Ave, just west of Carroll Ave. But that was just up against the curb, about 1.5 feet wide by about 9 feet long.
Yeah, I drove around today, and that was a good storm last night. I didn't see anything that rises to the level that we have to fix this right now and we have to do a stormwater fee because, well, that's a good question.
Well, that's
We
good.
need to-
I'm going to close up with that on this subject. Other areas, and if I estimated like this, I've been in construction my career. He made a statement, we have many areas in Michigan City with flooding problems. He cited 4 of them. Mott's Parkway, Buffalo Street. I drove Buffalo Street, Manhattan Street, and by Ames Field. I didn't see any water. I didn't make it to Mott's Parkway, but he estimated the cost of these at $100,000 to $400,000 each. If I estimated in that range, I would have never gotten a job.
Now, I don't want to be rude here, but he's not from here, and maybe the older people, the older generation of the wiser generation, have talked to me about areas in this town that a lot of people don't know about, and there's no way somebody from out of town would know this kind of stuff, but on Washington, north of Ames, used to be a ditch, a sizable ditch that ran through there. And if you look, and the older gentleman had told me, was very smart, and I questioned him like I guess I should as a young person. I went and looked. There is a concrete end bend from an old bridge still there on Washington Street. And he told me that when they first put those storm sewers in that area for that neighborhood, that they had infiltrator sewers, so the water would come from the ground and go in the storm pipes and run away so it wouldn't flood their basements. He told me that when they redid Washington, they have closed pipes and none of that water from the ground is allowed into our storm system anymore, and these people have some pumps that are pumping a lot more than they ever have because they took away the ability for the city storm sewers to attract water and pull it away from their foundations. Now, they shouldn't have built their houses in the first place, but that was 100 years ago. We're stuck with it now. Things of that nature that really scare me, that a lot of, when you change administrations and you hire people that aren't from here, or even the younger people, they have no clue, and maybe they should go talk to these people who live in these houses, or the wiser generation knows what happened. They very clearly know what happened, but we get ahead of ourselves. We enact a big stormwater fee or sanitary district fee. We run out there and try to fix everything, and we sometimes screw things up worse than when we started.
Okay. Well, I've only got 2 more items, and I'll finish this up. Mr. Cuss also said there are 99 areas in the city where we have standing water. Well, you're always going to have standing water after rain a little bit.
Depends what.
He estimated it at $5,000 apiece for $495,000. And then he mentioned green infrastructure areas, stormwater, where stormwater is treated by nature, ponds, rain gardens, flower gardens, areas that capture rainwater. He mentioned Strebel Pond, the Wabash streetscape area, boulevards and Michigan Boulevard medians and lawns and wetlands for $50,000 a year. So that's it. And the bottom line is about an extra $150 per year to each Michigan City resident to live in the city. That's a residential fee. Commercial and industrial fees will be higher. My suggestion is there was no detail given during that report, minimal, and it was passed unanimously by resolution of the Sanitary District Board of Directors. There was nobody there to remonstrate, but they don't post it like the council does. The council resolutions aren't posted for remonstration, just ordinances. And since they pass a resolution, they didn't have to post it. No one was there to remonstrate. Now there was an email that came out a few days ago from Jim Meyer, the city council attorney, advising the council members that this is coming before them. This will be coming before them in a short time as an ordinance. Not much explanation, but that will be the time on second reading where there will be a public hearing and it'll be time to remonstrate. My suggestion is if you are unhappy with this, as I am, show up at the meeting to remonstrate, but before that, call your councilman. Call your councilman and express your view that, see, we're not in a time hustle like when the sanitary district rate increase was proposed in late 2012. We were told, if we don't approve this this was in November, and if we don't approve this by the end of the year, which was like 2 more meetings, we're going to lose access to low-interest state revolving loans. Well, since then, I found out that state is constantly offering low-interest revolving loans, and I've seen that done in my industry time and time again. If you want to get something, put the person that you're asking for it from behind the 8 ball time-wise. I've got to have it right now, otherwise everything's going to come crumbling down. And I felt that's what was done to the council in that sanitary rate increase in 2012. I proposed 2 options, and we didn't have time to investigate those. You guys need to vote for this right now. So we've got time on this. If you're unhappy, call your councilman. First ward is Bryant Dabney, 219-879-9160. 219-879-9160. Second ward, Candace Silvas, 219-210-9700. 219-210-9700. Third ward, Ron Hamilton Jr., 219-873-9273. That's 219-873-9273. Fourth ward is Patricia Boy, 219-872-5293. 219-872-5393. Fifth ward, Sharon Carnes, 219-874-3760. 219-874-3760. Sixth ward, Chris Schwanke, 219-878-3453. 219-878-3453. And then your 3 at large. Al Whitlow, 219-561-4458. 219-561-4458. Tim Beatry, 219-879-8594. 219-879-8594. And Don Przbolinski, 219-879-5260. 219-879-5260. Tell your councilman this needs to be tabled, referred to the Finance Committee so that they can do their job. Get the details to properly analyze this. That's what I did when I was chairman of the Finance Committee. Details. Don't tell us you need money without providing us a full, detailed breakdown. Tony, that's all I have on that.
I got a couple questions on that. And we see it in Chicago right now happening. And I'm not saying that this is what it is, but they're fighting over a soda tax. And if you think about it, it's unbelievable. If you're going to get a 2-liter pop, it's an extra 67 cents. If you're going to get a case of Coke or a case of Pepsi, it's an extra almost $3 for a tax. So my question is for this, and maybe the council members need to ask this, I suspect that a stormwater fee is not part of the 1%, 2%, 3% on our tax bills, that we cannot be taxed more. So if I suspect that if the city already has an assessment on your tax bill for stormwater and it's too small, they either don't want to go through the procedures to increase that, and maybe if they do go through the procedures to increase that, it won't matter because we are capped at 1, 2, and 3. So you have to do a stormwater fee, which I suspect, and I'm not sure here, maybe we can find out, it will be billed directly to you through your through your sanitary bill,
Right.
not on your assessment for, so it doesn't even account for the 1, 2, or 3%. This is an extra that you will be required to pay on your monthly bill. I agree with Dwayne. We need some more research. We have to have this now. There's no reason. Public is not in danger here. There's nothing going on that we can't slow this thing down. I watched that same meeting before, Dwayne, and I'm sorry, but in the business world, you have a contract and you spell out what you want. And then you go, you get a vendor or a construction person, you build it, and then you pay them. We see time and time and again, and I'm glad I don't have Comcast and I don't watch all these meetings anymore because they just frustrate me. I need some more money. We didn't have this in the project. This wasn't included. We ran across this. Well, either somebody didn't spec it out right, or somebody just let, the fox is in the hen house. And that last meeting I watched, I was concerned because maybe 3 or 4 times the sanitary district was saying, we're bumping up against our state revolving fund bond, whatever, that we got. So the millions and millions of dollars that we had to bond because of the sewer rate increase, we're now bumping up against the top end of that loan. How much money is that? How long are we going to pay for that? Another 20 or 30 years? And my final comment is, if we get 13 million or whatever, redevelopment gets another 5 million, so maybe we're getting 15, 20 million dollars from the casino. We've heard it over and over again from separate administrations, different mayors. If this isn't what the gambling money it can't be used for, then why do we have it? Maybe we ought to be thinking about, and you said this too in this rate increase, can't we use some of the casino money to pay for some of these things? They're not emergencies. If we're going to get 10 million a year for the next 20 more years, could we just budget that money to pay for what we need? And maybe that's the game. Maybe they're going to come to the council and say, hey, we need $100 million, or you could just give us the gambling money and not raise taxes. Because the council are elected people, I don't think anyone on that sanitary district board is an elected person. They only account to the mayor, who is elected. So maybe that's the time they say, okay, we can't, a fee is not appropriate. There's no emergency here. This is, and we go in front of the council all the time in the county, it's a question of wants and needs. Do you want this or do you need this? Maybe we just can do without it for a little while and slowly fix this stuff and slowly move forward. I think the next 4 to 5 years, if the economy's going good, we're going to see increase in construction costs. We're seeing that already in public bids. A lot of public bids aren't being accepted because they're far and above the engineer's estimate. That's because the construction people are busy. So we don't want to go forward with a want to clean up small puddles, which need to be fixed, at premium prices. Maybe we can wait. Economy gets a little worse. They could start some people at a reduced cost. And that's another topic that
we'll hit that in a few.
You have research, you have some homework still to do. We've been working on it. What happened to the Michigan City hiring ordinance? That was all the rage 3 or 4 years ago, and I haven't heard a peep about it. Not a peep about hiring Michigan City. Not even question. Nothing about hiring Michigan City people.
Not even back page news.
Not even on it's not even on the napkin anymore. It doesn't exist.
The last thing on the sanitary district issue, I don't hear people crying about water in their basement. I don't see water in the streets. Many of us who paid attention saw the buying spree of new equipment that Michigan City Sanitary District went on right after they got their rate increase. They bought equipment like that was going out of style. This makes me a little bit suspect of this. This is why I say give the council, give the people a detailed breakdown. If you really need it, that should show it.
I'll be clear. I watched that when they started buying stuff and I watched that and they were buying stuff, and they didn't buy it from the local dealerships. They were buying it from Chesterton at Lakeshore Ford. I mean, and then they were buying warranties. I don't know how many articles I've read that warranties are a waste of your money. I mean, why?
Must be the commuter hour. I didn't expect to hear that.
Yeah, that's our next.
Next topic. That sounds like 2 trains. That must be double track.
Okay, what's the next topic? Oh,
Next topic? No. We'll flip-flop.
we're gonna flip on. What? There's a train going by. Hold on. Okay, train
Speed up, train. We haven't got time.
Next topic.
Okay. Get ready, folks. That's a recording. The real thing is coming. The real thing will be here. Tony wants to talk about the 2-track.
Okay.
The 2-track program.
That could go on for 15 more minutes.
Yeah.
The NICTD 2-track. I did some research. Internet's a wonderful thing, Dwayne.
It is.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anyone can pull this down. You go to NICTD's website, the monthly ridership and performance report. This is June 2017. I see they had another thing in the paper talking about the double track. And let me be clear. A lot of people say that people talk about things, issues in this town, and we're just spinning our wheels and wasting our time, not getting anything moved forward. The double track, which I am against in its present form and its location, on NICTD's side, the South Shoreline side, they just want to be good citizens and good businessmen. They just want to know where they're going to go and where they're going to work and make money and bring services to this town. They don't care if it's down 11th. They don't care if it's up north. They don't care if it's on 94. They don't care where it is. They just want to be good stewards and citizens and business people of this town. Just tell them where they can go. They want to do business. They want riders to have a good ride and a good short ride to Chicago.
And
It's not about 11th Street to them. It's not about closing 13th Streets. It's not about the double track. Well, it's about the double track. They don't care where. They just want to know
They want
what's best
an
for the
extra
town.
track for freight, too.
And they want freight. That's
You bet.
understandable.
Okay.
They want freight. They want to make money. They just want to be somewhere. They're not here to saying, we want 11th and that's all we want. No, they didn't
The
care
city
about
did
that. The city did that. They said, sorry, we're picking 11th. We're closing whatever. Was it 13 or 16 streets? We're putting in a new platform for 11th Street. We're closing off Pine. That's what we want. NICTD and South Shore just said, hey, we just need a double track and we need a corridor. They weren't, hey, we want 11th Street and that's it. Or we want CSX and that's it. Or we want the north side and that's it. We just want you to tell us where to go so we can go through. It's up to us in our town to decide where the best place that we can work it out with them to be good business and good partners with them. And I guess that's where we're at. We picked 11th Street, so here we go. And they say now it's $290 million. I can make a prediction it's going to be more than that. I wouldn't venture to say it'd be $1 billion before we're all done. But we're going down that path now. So you want to know, they keep talking about it, and you can look this up. Why do they need it? Well, they say they need it because they need on-time trains. They need to shorten the time from Chicago to here, and they need more passenger volume, or they'll have more passenger volume.
With more trains, right?
With more trains. Well, doesn't show up in their reports. And you can look at June, April, May, June, last year's report. You can look at any report on there. It's all in there. You'd think there would be an increase in passengers, right? Now, there's a decrease in passengers. We were told this a year ago. As soon as gas prices went down, the ridership went down. The only reason their ridership was going up because gas was $3, $4 a gallon. So you're seeing here 2% decrease, 3% decrease in ridership. And these are weekdays, peak days, off days. They make a nice little chart. And this is NICTD's information, South Shore. It's not us. And you can see it's declining. You don't make this stuff up. They're declining. Their ridership is declining. And then they say, okay, well, we need We need it because we got to have on-time service, and the double track will do that. Well, rush hour delays from the report through 2017, 93.4% on time. That's pretty good. 93.4% on time.
That's with their current route.
That's what their report,
Yep.
with their one track. Then we see ridership again. They make a nice ridership report. It's declining 2-3% month over month. Another decline. And they break it down to peak ridership and off-peak ridership. Off-peak ridership is going up. June it went up, but every other month it went down. And they got rush hour on-time performance, I just told you, in their own report. And they got this percent of rush hour seats occupied. Now, supposedly, if they needed, they need more trains for all the passengers are getting.
Should be 100%.
No, hovering around 80%. So that's not the truth. And then I want to leave this open for you because you did some research into this, and that's why I started looking into this. Why, if they're delayed, which they need 2 tracks, why are they delayed? And they break it down to the infinite, and they tell you exactly why. Well, if you look at their delays, 25% of their delays weekday, which is the people we're trying to get, right, the workers, 25% of delays are MET.
RA, Metra.
Exactly right. So 25%.
I've said it so many times, and it's been verified by a member of the NICTD staff. You want an hour ride into Chicago, NICTD's got to buy its own tracks. It's got to stop having to run on Metro tracks from Kensington into Randolph Street. They buy their own tracks, and the bump and grind and wait will stop. It's never going to stop, no matter how many tracks you got going in, as long as you're running on Metra's tracks and not your own tracks.
Yep, right here. 25% of their delays, and they're 93.4% on time, and 25% of the 6.6% is Metra, of which they have 0 control over and will always have 0 control over. But you know the next biggest part of their delay is maintenance and workers. Now, I've only been involved with rail in the last 5 years, and as a person who has to have their rail safety certifications every year, you cannot be on a rail or within 15 feet of a rail when there's trains running. So it doesn't matter if you have 2 tracks. You still, if you have maintenance and workers, you still have to close the rail down. You cannot have workers out there. Will never happen. So that's 25% that will never go away. So
Unless they work at night, like they do on the East Coast, they do their interstate, their highway work, they do it at night. It's more expensive, but it's less disruptive to commuter traffic.
So there's the facts about a 2-track. I want to make it clear, NICTD and South Shore want to be good business partners. They want to know how we can work with Michigan City. They're not choosing 11th Street. They're not choosing the North Pass. They're not choosing the CSX. They just want to know what corridor can they work in, and they will be happy to do whatever they can. It's up to us and every community to decide where they want the rail to go.
But there's a lot of smoke and mirrors involved in this, and we've pointed it out. There are delays that are unavoidable that could be, unless NICTD owns their own tracks. And we've all seen freight increase through Michigan City, which when we get a second track is going to continue to increase. As intermodal down by Kingsbury moves toward completion, and as ArcelorMittal continues to move more car coils from Indiana Harbor over to New Carlisle to their 2 plants that used to be Inland Steel are now ArcelorMittal for galvanizing, and then when the cost of gas goes up, they'll ship them back through and send them out by rail.
And where does that rail go? That rail goes from
Right through
ArcelorMittal, and it goes right over to New Carlisle.
Yep.
Direct, straight shot.
Right through Michigan City,
Right through.
11th Street.
So that's to be clear, that's why we want to still talk about the 2-track. We brought the sounds in. Get ready for that all day, all night. That's what it's going to be about. They're going to close. Oh, the quick thing is, they're closing Carroll.
Yeah.
Now, I understand Carroll was supposed to be not a station anymore. It's going to be 11th Street. So my question was, why are you closing Carroll? Oh, they're closing Carroll because they're going to increase their freight yard. So now we lose Carroll. We lose the
As a
option of going
boarding
on
stop,
Carroll,
yep.
and we can't go across that road anymore because their yard is too small. After they already own the concrete place in Porter County on the edge of LaPorte. So,
Yeah, they
there's
bought
lots more to dig
Ileana
up.
Block out there in
Ileana
12.
Block.
And they
bought
went, they bought more land by going eminent domain against the next 2 or 3 property owners to the west. How big are they gonna be? But we keep hearing that word freight.
And we're still going to close Carroll.
We're still gonna close
If they're
Carroll.
going to move out there, why do we need to close Carroll? Anyways, enough on that. We only got a few minutes left.
Yeah, we took a little too long on that.
Next level, Indiana. We brought this last week. And I brought it up because I was doing some work in North County on Thursday, and I drove across the house north and 39. Next level, Indiana, very clear. I want to make sure I didn't screw this up. This map's available. Says in 2022, they're going to repave 39 north of 20 to the state line. They're paving it right now. And so then I didn't realize until I came to the meeting, this show last week, that there were these pages attached. It says the projects and how much they cost. 2022, 39 north of 20 to the state line is not even on this as a project. Now, what I wanted to bring that back to the show was, and I know the governor's new and his people are new, but if you're going to produce these maps for every county, could somebody please check them? This is what they post. This is attached to it. 39 North, 2022. It's being paved right now. Fantastic. They're paving it. But if you can't even get your schedule right, I'm feared for the extra gas tax increase. If you can't even get this right, what can we get right? I mean, there's lots of projects on here. They have colors and pretty colors and which projects and which year, but they don't match the chart. Could somebody please look at that?
Communities along these routes plan their own maintenance programs for their communities around these NDOT projects. So,
Yeah, we have planned lots of things. 4th of July festivals, lots of Summerfest or whatever we're going to do. Guys, you put out a public map, put it in all the newspapers, told us where you're going to spend some of our gas tax money, because it's not all of it, but you screwed up the, and then what? That makes sense. That's my...
okay, time for our 5th and final topic for the day. Tony, you were the one that told me about this initially. Munster Redevelopment Commission.
Munster Redevelopment, yeah, we gotta be quick. Munster Redevelopment Commission versus State Board of Accounts. There's a neat website. I'm telling you guys, the internet, don't be afraid of it. There is bad stuff on there, but please, once you learn, anything's available. I read an article about Munster Redevelopment Commission, and they went to the State Board of Accounts because they said they built the park and they were maintaining it. And Google Scholar, you can look it up. It says, it's very clear, the Indiana Appeals Court said the Redevelopment Commission may not spend money on maintenance of projects.
Of property they do not own.
Of property they do not own and property that's completed. So if they own a building like the News Dispatch and they wanted to mow the lawn while they owned it, yes they can. But they can't spend it on property they own, and they can't spend it on property like, I could be wrong, but if you tore the News Dispatch down and it's just a grass yard, that's maintenance. We can't be spending money mowing lawns from redevelopment TIF funds. And
I'm going to be looking into that, and I will report to you later on in a later show.
If I remember the article correctly in Northwest Indiana Times, I think they had to pay that money back to the redevelopment fund because they took TIF money that was not to be used for maintenance by law and spent it on maintenance. And they argued it all the way to the Indiana Supreme Court. Complete and utter failure. If we can't follow the laws we have in place, how can we do anything? Because it was very clear. They have to own the ground and they have to be maintaining a structure that they have not finished or tore down yet.
Redevelopment Commission is somewhat, in not just Michigan City, throughout the state, they're somewhat autonomous, and they have a lot of cash resources. And
They have a lot of leeway.
Concerned about some of the things that they're doing in Michigan City. I'm concerned about these low-cost lakefront liquor licenses that have been issued. I've reviewed the state statute, and it doesn't look as though every one of the applicants that has received a license fully fulfilled the statute requirements. I am looking into that, and I will be reporting back to our viewers on that very shortly also.
So we have also, before we run out of time here, we have a list of, usually at the end of the show, we have a list of lots of things we're always looking at. Did we decide on a neighborhood for next week? Oh,
Well-
yes, we did.
Village Green.
Village Green. They're getting their second phase of their roads done right now, right? So Village Green is getting their second phase.
Of their blacktop roads done, so we won't have to look forward to that for another 7 years maybe, or 8.
Yeah, because Village Green
versus concrete, which would have been 50.
would have been 50 years.
I tried, Village Green people, I tried to get you concrete.
So we're going to go over everything in Village Green. It's a great little area in our neighborhood, in our town. They do the Village Green garage sale, works out good.
Yep,
They keep their neighborhood up real nice. Again, this we brought up in the west side. Some neighborhoods are getting attention, and some neighborhoods are just completely ignored constantly. And I don't know what we can do to change that, but something, we get money from casino, something needs to be done to make sure that everyone gets a fair shake at some of that money. We don't need to play favorites between each person. So next week, we will have Village Green, and you have a list of some of the issues we had before.
well, you can pick and choose.
Oh
We'd
yeah,
like to
here's
do
our
that.
future counterpoint issues.
Yeah, I want to talk about the sanitary district a little bit more, and what you mentioned, the work that they have done by contractors and how they monitor that work and how many extras seem to be coming in unchallenged.
I would like to bring forward our create, play, repeat thing that's going on. I saw they handed out little basketballs at the parade. They have a little flyer they sent out, which was them. They picked some businesses over others. How is that working? We're about action in this town, so how is the actionable results of create, play, repeat working? That's something, that's what the flyer was in there. What's the return on investment? Some things we need to look at. How St. Stan's Farmers Market's doing. The fireworks, did you go out? Are they good or bad? Anyone need to email us and tell us. Are the two-way street conversions working? There's a condo sign, been there for years on Cleveland Avenue. How's that working? The new warehousing south of the Chrysler dealership is going up. Is there any word on that? The old yacht club has a restaurant. I don't know how many times that's been changed, but
Well, we only got 5 topics.
how's that working? Now, these are just some things,
We will hit
Whiting's Water
every
Park.
one of these in the future.
How did that work out? Lots of things we're looking at. There's new signs in downtown done by Reprographic Arts. I think that's fantastic that they got a local person to print those and put those up. Fantastic. We're using local people. What are all the other city parks? Have you gone online and checked out the city park map? Lots of things we're thinking about. We don't have much time. We will post these shows on YouTube. You can look at them at your leisure. We're happy to, Alco helps us out and makes everything good for us and everything we do in Michigan City. That's all we have, and thank you, and see you next week.
You bet.